I'm sure over the last couple of weeks, a lot of you have had to rub your eyes a few times. Maybe even pinch your skin to make sure that what you were seeing on your computer screen was in fact real. I mean, how on earth did the stock market just rip 14 straight days in a row?
NASDAQ 100
has really been surging here.
On pace for its 10th straight gain.
13 straight days.
That's its longest winning streak since 2021.
And more than 12 percentage points in the midst of a global conflict that could have massive financial implications. I mean, none of this makes any sense, right? Yet here we are. But you know what's crazier than that? There's a good chance that most of you who are watching this video right now, you missed a good portion, or worse, the entire move, because you didn't think it was going to happen, and then once it happened, you simply just couldn't wrap your mind around the reality of it. And here you sit today, confused on what is going to happen from here. So in today's video, I want to give you the answers and the direction that you need starting right now. With number one, why did the market move so much in the midst of a global conflict? And what you'll learn in today's video is this has happened before, this most likely will happen again in the future, and all of this could have been predicted by looking at one simple chart. Number two, I'm going to tell you whether or not this market is poised to move higher from here, or are you witnessing the biggest bull trap of all time and the entire thing's just going to come crumbling down. And number three, what do you need to do right now to position yourself to catch the next big market move? So let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So how on earth did the market just rally in the midst of all this global tension? Well, in order to understand the answer to that question, you have to have a general understanding of how markets are designed to function in the first place and how they think. And if you ever want to be a successful trader, you need to know this anyway because it's important. You see, all markets, and I mean all of them, are forward-thinking instruments, which means all of these assets that you are trading, no matter what exchange they're trading on, it doesn't matter. The prices that you're trading right now are not based on the now. Those prices are based off of future projections and expectations. Projections and expectations that were set by hedge funds and institutions, market technicians, analysts, and the hopes, dreams, and desires of the investors behind them. So it would work something like this, or example. Let's say every January 1st, the powers that be like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Citigroup, they get inside their conference rooms and they take all of this financial data they have in front of them, like how many times the Fed's going to raise rates, what does the economic situation look like, wage growth, job growth, GDP, inflation, and they make calculations based off of it. And from those calculations, they say these are the asset classes that will benefit the most from this economic policy. And this is where we see the Nikkei, gold, DAX, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, whatever it is. This is where we see it trading at December 31st. And that's where they start making their financial decisions. Now, because markets are mostly run by institutional flow, this is where we see the money cycling itself through the market. But here's where the problem comes in when a conflict arises. Whenever there's a black swan issue where the market just simply wasn't prepared for this, they obviously have a problem, and it comes in two forms. Number one, you immediately need to make new projections because now you have an issue that you never thought about. Now, because these issues seem to come out of nowhere and they're pretty drastic, common sense would tell you that these projections need to be lowered because they're not as optimistic as the ones you made on January 1st, right? This leads to selling like we saw in this crisis, selling like we saw in COVID, and selling like we saw in tariffs. But here's where the bigger problem comes in on number two. Because all of these crises are very new, they're also very unknown. And most of the news flow and information and data that's coming in is suspect at best. So the only thing these institutions can do to prepare properly is focus on a worst case scenario. So let's say over-preparing. Now, what this leads to is excessive selling. And almost in every one of these cases, you're going to see that the market over-exaggerates itself to the downside. Because here is where the edge comes in, and here's the answer to why the market rallied so much. Because in 100% of all these cases, COVID, tariffs, and this one, the moment anything comes by, and I mean the moment anything comes by that proves that the worst case scenario will not play out, These institutions have no choice but to buy right back in and buy aggressively. That's why you see these violent rallies from COVID, tariffs, and now this one. And that's why they look so aggressive, because they have to go back in and buy it. Now, here's one thing that you really need to keep in your mind right now, where a lot of traders go wrong. The issue doesn't have to resolve. Remember, because they focused on a worst case scenario, the worst case scenario just doesn't need to play out. You don't have to end the resolution. The market went on this violent rally long before we got a hold of COVID, long before we understood tariffs, and long before this conflict is over. So it doesn't have to end. They just need to know that the worst case scenario is not going to play out. Now, while this may sound complex for us regular traders, the easiest way to figure this out is you can see this playing out in real time right there on the charts, and let me show you. So I want to show you how this whole entire sequence of events played out in real time and was completely recognizable in the chart. So I'm going to do the ES E-mini futures for this, which is a reflection of the S&P 500, the market, right? And I'm going to just use a daily chart. That's all we need. I want to focus first here on January, February's action. And note at this point right here, the market's trading at an all-time high at around 7,000 points. So it's just business as usual. Projections are following through, markets doing market things. Now, right about here, towards the end of February, this is when the conflict originally started. Now, note what happened. The market needed to reevaluate these projections. So what happens is they must lower their optimism and their projections, hence you start to see the sell-off. Now, there's a couple of green bars here and there, but for the most part, you're trending downwards. And this downward move will continue for infinity until anything comes by that proves that the worst case scenario won't play out. And that event happens right here on March 31st when both sides agreed to meet for talks. Now, this was the first time that both sides agreed to talks. And that's what got us this nice lift. Now, just like in the past, there was a couple of greens. So one would say, how do we trust this green? And this is what's important for the traders to understand. Note over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, there was all of this activity. And if you look at these daily bars, there's a lot of them that are trying to sink back into the low of this big candle. There's a bunch of sell-offs in here, but each and every day, the market is absorbing bad news, because through this time, we started getting news that these talks really aren't on. There's more trouble ahead. It was not a negative news, but what's happening here, the chart's absorbing that news. It's telling you that the market is growing numb to this news and they see something different. And if you can remember through this time, this was also the high noon, what's going to go down on Tuesday night, right? That whole sort of tweet thing. And the market kept absorbing that. What does that tell us? It tells us that the market is done with the bad news. They see that the worst case scenario is not going to happen, and eventually a resolution or the hopes of a resolution will come by. Hence, you get this very next big bar, right? Now, most of you, again, might know that and understand the situation is still fresh in your mind. But note what happens. This chart immediately moves right back up to where the whole thing started from, right? It immediately goes right back to the median average. So what has happened here is that the market has absorbed the news. The worst case scenario isn't going to happen. We're buying everything back, and we're going to buy it right back to where it started from. Now, that doesn't necessarily explain the crazy rally since then. What this explains here is that this was intended to happen in the first place. So to make this easy, the market's telling you that if this event right here would not have happened, what the chart would look like is this. It would eventually just grind its way up here anyway, because this is where the valuations were always supposed to be. But there are a couple of key components from this chart. Number one was the hopes of a resolution. Finally, since this thing started, the first talks came. The next step was each and every one of these candles had bad news attached to them, but the market changed its perspective. It no longer sold bad news, it bought bad news. And it bought that in 5 days straight. Then when the news came in, All bets were off, the gloves were off, it was time to buy, and that's why you got this extreme rally. So now the question is, where do we go from here? Are we going to see this next leg of an epic rally, or is this market going to come crumbling down? For the answer to that, we're going to go back and take a look at these charts. So let's go back to our ES chart, and for now we're going to remain on the daily time frame, and let's talk about what can we expect from here, or what is this next move? Now obviously logic and common sense would tell you that after such a vicious rally, this should sell a little bit, right? I mean, people would want to take profit, not necessarily. And the message I have for all the aspiring traders right now is this, and I've said it before. This is why we depend so much on technicals, and why I feel technicals are so important, because technicals reflect reality. And whatever you're seeing on the chart, it's always right. It is real. And we need these charts to protect us from our own thoughts and beliefs and keep us from making serious mistakes. And let me show you what I'm talking about. I want to focus on the last 5 to 6 days of trading activity right up here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of box in the last few days from the high price and the low price, like the good old-fashioned box theory. Now, there's different lingo used for this type of activity here, but what I like to call this is consolidation. And here's the easiest way I can put this to you. What the market's telling you right now is they are currently digesting the news and the information that they've had up to this point. The market is currently digesting this massive move. So what it's doing now is kind of brewing for its very next leg up or leg down, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So what has happened is prices have risen so quickly, and now everybody's sort of in this holding pattern, waiting to see this. Are these new projections that we have made? And is the reasons that we had purchased back this rally or bought back into this rally so hard and bought back our positions, do these still exist? So here's what the market needs to see. They need to see that the resolution to this conflict continues to move at a specific timeline. Now, unfortunately for you and I, we're not in those meetings. We don't know what the timeline is. This is why we need the charts. At some point, what you will see, and here's what you need to know now on what happens next. What you need to see here is if this moves above the upper range, which in this case is 7,200, what this most likely would signify is that the market has digested the news. They feel that everything is going to be fine. The worst case scenario is not going to play out. And they want to create another up leg that possibly could take us towards 7,400 to 7,500. But that won't be confirmed via the charts until you actually can move above this upper range. Otherwise, it's just going to stay there and be suppressed until that day happens. Now, that can happen tomorrow. It can happen next week. It can happen next month. We never know, but we need to be prepared for that. Now, the easy part with this too is if you're looking for that sell-off, that needs to take out the bottom part of the box. Like this is just a standard box theory down towards about the 70-50 level. So I would say this, until you can see sell side pressure developing beneath that 70-50. So it's all in the technical. So real easy. If you start moving above with volume over 7,200, you're probably going to get another leg to the rally. If this conflict continues or other bad news comes out that the market just starts to feel insecure about, or at any time they feel they were wrong and had over purchased this rally, you will see that reflected when prices start to move below 70-80 and 70-50. And fail to reclaim back towards the 7,200 area. So the last and final step in this is the most important, obviously. What do you do right now? What is your next move starting right now, and what should you be looking for? Again, let's go back to the charts and I'll show you exactly what it is you need to see from here. So here's the easiest way for us to position ourselves for the next moves, but we're going to allow the technicals to tell us. And what we're going to use here is what I always use, which is the box theory. Now, unlike the normal box theory videos I do, where we're talking about just the previous day's high and previous day's low, in this situation, we have something that's unique. unique, which is a multiple span of days where we have this extended box, which even makes it better. So I want to move this chart right now from a daily time frame down to an intraday 5-minute time frame. And you will see a span of quite a few days of activity on an intraday basis. This will help us understand exactly what's happening. And take a look. Every time prices rise, no matter how slow or how fast, that you move up towards the 7180 areas, you are met with resistance. So right now we are in a range-bound market. And until there's a definitive move above the 7,200 or a definitive move below the 7080s, we can't expect continual back-to-back-to-back kind of trending days. We need to play these ranges. So you should be sell side focused as prices move towards the top of that box. As prices move towards the bottom of the box, which is around 7080, notice what's happening. You're always getting a lift. This is the standard box theory. Just like yesterday, you got this. You went from top of range to bottom of range. And to show you how effective this is and the understanding of the box theory here, let's take a look at what just happened. While I was doing this video, again here late in the day, the market tried again to push through violently this 7180. And as of now, resistance yet again is entering it. Okay? So this is the kind of play we want to make as we remain in consolidation. Now, until the day comes by and you either dispatch of this 7180 to 7200 convincingly, or you dispatch of the low of 7080, then and only then can you start thinking about extended trend kind of plays. Now, what I want to do, this is if you're just trading the markets themselves, but I want to give everybody a smaller tip here to the right way to position yourself for this. And for this, let's go back to the daily. Here's how I'm going to play this. Here's how I would play it. Here's how I recommend it. If we break out again above the 7,200 and the market has another bullish up leg, I would look for all the stocks and assets on my list right now that have been lagging behind the big leaders of this market. Stocks that have yet to reclaim their 50-day moving average, stocks that have been left behind, or even stocks and assets that are in slight downtrend. Because if the market starts to rally, that money's going to want to flow back into the weaker names because they have the most to gain. Now, an inverse relationship would be this. If you do lose the 7180 and we start to see sell side pressure moving below that, I would immediately go to some of the most high-flying, inflated stocks and assets and look to sell those because they have the most to lose. But remember the whole purpose of this, the easiest way to figure all of this out. It's right there in the chart. You will not get another sustainable rally unless it moves above 7,200. It just simply will not happen. And you will not get any bearish reversal or correction of any sort until you can get prices to start moving below 7,180. It's that simple. Nothing else needs to be read or needs to be done. It's all in the technicals. All right, guys, so that's going to conclude today's video. And I hope whatever I shared with you at least gave you some additional knowledge and you can see the value in it and you can understand the importance of market cycles and market structure and really start to put the pieces together that you need. Now, for a lot of you out there that are looking to really take your game to the next level, I mention this all the time, but my wife and I have a live trading community where we trade live every day on screen. And we're covering almost every asset that's tradable, technical levels, real live trades, a great community of people working together to achieve the same goal. If you're really looking to take that next step, the step that has been eluding you, down in the description box, you will see the link. I look forward to trading with you live every day. And until the next video, take care, trade well, and cheers.